Aho Mataki Oyase. Jai Bhagwan. Gracias, Abba. Welcome home, my family. My brothers, my sisters. We are one family. I have originally imagined and played around with the idea of making this a ASMR reaction, meaning I have had the inspiration to do a completely non-verbal reaction video to this new merchandise sold by a merchant that has come into my experience. This video will include a lot of inhaling and exhaling. I am also called or pressed upon to also to be more and to do less, to make an attempt to no longer be the doer, to make a force or action, a behavior from a state of emotion that I have no control over, including fear, or any moment that is not a step closer in the place where I choose to be, and that I am a witness, I am mindful, I am watching, I am choosing. I have made a great attempt to also slow down and to attempt to give permission to slow down. Especially where it is told to quicken up or slow down further, and to attempt to have allowance or acceptance, loving awareness of myself as I am here now. Attempting to only notice if there is shame or guilt or rage or sadness or any energy in motion that is flowing through me, my consciousness, my mind, my heart, my state of my being. I can hear clear in my heart what is true for me. However, I have made choices that have put me into a position where I have in the past not been mindful and watching where I am going, and ending up in a place that I am now not choosing to be in. The greatest phrase that I can think of to share with you to emulate this in another way would be speaking to God, saying, less of me and more of you. See if you can even accept that for yourself. I am that I am. Here now. It's okay to notice. It's okay to change. Can you accept the love offering of less of me and more of you? Can you give yourself permission to tune into you, to look at you, to not look away from you, or to not listen to you and your heart, to be your truth, to speak openly in front of others your truth of what you do and you choose and that you see and you feel. It is okay if we are not okay with what we are feeling right now. In fact, that is quite absolutely normal in the growth process. Growing pains come in all sizes and containers. We can get lost in labels and stories endlessly. We can choose to focus our attention where it brings us satisfaction. If we are focused on justice or our personal satisfaction or world hunger or world peace, we can choose to make time to listen and hear our heart. We can write down on paper or through text. There are many different ways we can share and express. It's just a matter of choosing which platform or place or time, and most of all, if we will give ourselves permission to do what God is calling us to do. We all have been very specially equipped to do this service, this seva, this selfless service that we have great joy to surrender and listen to the Lord, who is the King of our heart, Creator of all things. You are known by many names. Sometimes even us people are known by many names. Some can call them demons or sins of pride or jealousy or rage or control or manipulation, fear, rejection. How many can you think of? I can suggest a few videos that will name every single one of them if you really choose to investigate what many have named these things, these spirits that have possession over us and our minds and our time. Selfishness, mammon, money, people, places, things, seeking outside of self, other love sources, other life sources, when really our lives all come from this one supreme fountain of life. So with all these infinite narratives said, I have constantly also have had pressed upon me to just be extremely fruitful, to be really honest, and to always confess the truth. And if that hurts individuals at times, I am so extremely apologetic. That is not my intention. Perhaps it is God's greatest intention to affect you and to touch your heart and to reach you in that way, which at times I can feel guilty as charged as the instrument that has portrayed this image, this idea, this feeling, this place. And at times I can be guilty as charged of also not having self-acceptance and not being able to have a voice and being possessed by that spirit of being mute and not speaking up in a place where I can teach and share my heart and create a choice for us all to be one family, one unit, and to continue under God. Okay, meaning where like we are all seen and heard and complete as a group, and we do not feel like we are losing our identity or our totality by the group, giving ourselves permission to be the complete level of our true selves, not telling ourselves that we can't be or say or feel or think this way, when at times it is true that we know ourselves best and who we love and who we choose to be. So if we are not loving how we are treating time or life or others or ourselves at this time, we can accept, show loving awareness, accept and show up for that self that needs you to see what it is saying. I cannot help but feel the constant pull of Priscilla. It's not always easy to surrender. And more than the surrender, there is a perfect timing and a perfect place and an absolute truth, which where you can say two things can be true at the same time, and sometimes it can be difficult at times to grasp the totality of the truth and the infiniteness of all that is, so we can try to say I am this or I am that. However, the I am that I am today and now may be told of stories in other ways in the past or in the future or even in this now. It's just a matter of perspective. And I'm called to also mention this additional place or location or thing that happens where when you come into connection or place with the right people, right? Mr. Right Now or Mr. Right or Mrs. All the things, okay? There's so many different places and stories, and again, there's limitations, like we're saying that this is this, and things can be defined and named as bigger things. There's many different things, so it's important to not send you to so many different places and to allow you to remain focused. So if you do have any questions, please always listen. Write down the ions, okay, the particles, the waves, the exact quest of the specific names and things that you are registering, that you are actively seeking and invested in researching. These lessons, they just continue to repeat themselves because we can say it's common sense, it's common knowledge, and it's not necessarily common practice, and therefore it's not always witnessed non-verbally. So there's many different aspects of things that have been translated and expressed in certain ways. And if you are focused on your intense pain or the particular angle or trajectory or interest of passage, there are many different ways for you to be gentle with yourself and to give yourself permission. At the same time, your body is going to be interested in healing. And if you are choosing to forget and choosing to not be with a part of yourself or of the collective, it is infinitely true that this manifestation and expressions shall continue because you are choosing to focus and engage upon these things. And it is true that there is also this infinite creator that has chosen you to be here now and has loved you in this way that may not make sense in all of its ability to be known in this exact moment. There's so much to learn, and not always asking the question is going to be given the answer, and not always is the answer given going to be the infinite and total and final answer or solution to the selected image or idea or question that has been continued. These things are going to continue to come up until we are giving ourselves permission to really be with it and to watch it instead of doing a reaction, a behavior, a movement out of response to that emotion, thought, or thing. This can be used in positive ways, or it can be in ways that what can be defined as going against the grind of our true self, that we are not being a witness, that we are being reactionary and responding in ways that we may not choose to respond, although may be automatic and not necessarily in a position that are in need to be shamed. Just simply have attention and gentle, loving awareness. Now, as we proceed in this video of its original intention, or perhaps as I prepare you for the stage of what I have originally said, yes, the Priscilla, however, again, God's timing, when it is called for it to be expressed. So allow us to, for the remainder of this video, even if I am forgetting, please let us remember our breath, and that our breath is like ministering to the Lord and just music to their ears. Just let that Holy Spirit be there in you and show it love and attention and interest. Not your soul, not your mind. Your soul means your mind, your will, meaning your desires, your wants, the things that you think you want, your mind, right? Your mind, stories, mind, will, and your emotions, okay? So your spirit is this infiniteness, okay? So it's okay to notice your soul, notice your mind, your will, and your emotions, and all that makes your individualness and that makes your God be that way with you, okay? Because God perhaps doesn't treat everyone in those exact ways. However, we all have a different relationship, and our families have different relationships and have had personal experiences of clearly that possibly there's something more to all of this experience. So again, I am happy to share with you and thankful to share with you what I have received. Thank you, Chandrakant. Thank you, Amrit. Thank you, Vafaji. Thank you, Swami Kripalu. Thank you, all of you who have led up to here now. Thank you, all of you. You know who you are. Please shout your name here, Google, or please look online or look everywhere. Find every resource you can of what every one of your names means. This means your first name, your last name. God has revealed to you what exactly it means and what is personal to you and what is personal to your path and your people. And I am your people, and we are all each other's people, okay? So just see and know this. We just have so much to teach, and there are things that me and you are different people, and we do not see eye to eye and know all the infinite things that each other knows, but together we know all things. And they do not always have to be said or used as a wave of currency or of getting something from each other. There can be a way that we can enjoy all that there is to be getting, all understanding. We can share and allow these things because it is truly priceless and infinite. An infinite creation can come from our togetherness, and it's not just combining our money and our food and our electricity and our wisdom and our medicine and this story and that story and that story and that story of what is really valuable and this and this, okay? The never ending. We accept all things, and we all have things that are very important to us, and there are things that that we cross with just when we are walking together. They just do not have any idea that this exists or why this is important, and God has written on our heart to share excuse excuse me, because we have free will, okay? I can choose. You're allowed. There's nothing wrong in there. Perhaps this is coming from the wrong place. You have a choice to be who you are. And it's okay to say I never want to change, because I'm sure we have all been there. And sometimes we've been the other way where we cannot accept who we are at all or what anyone is. And I just think that there's like a reciprocity here, meaning that as much as I can't accept you, I cannot accept myself, or I cannot accept this life. And sometimes it's more different, as in that I cannot accept this about me, but I can accept about you, and that is okay. And having this relationship where I am okay with this version of me, this part of me that lives in you and that has been continuously to be fed, like different behaviors or actions have strengthened this character or this part or this self. Which reminds me of a very special piece I've been writing, and I'm very much so excited to share with you and read to you. And I've been developing, and to be honest, at this point, it might be best for me to just absolutely give it up, okay? Just give it up and give it up. And not a negative way of giving up, but just absolutely just give it up. Just, you don't have to try so hard. Like, what's for you is never, ever, ever going to pass you, and it's important for you to remain true to you and to not lie to yourself and tell yourself that you have to this and this about you, and just accepting you where you are, where you're at now. And also, I'm going to mention the absolute truth that lives in other people, okay? Those who love you, they're going to communicate things. And I'm not saying that they are always, always, always absolutely correct and true, because they are not you. So sometimes you can say God is using them as instruments of peace to help you get to know the piece of you, of who you are when you obey and listen to God, when you shema, when you are following suit. So again, ministering to the Lord by just breathing, just being yourself. I'm aware I've mentioned many, many different things. If you would like to go back and write down specific things or questions, if you would like to have a one-on-one time where we are talking, where there is a session, a one-on-one session between you and me, speaking, seeing each other, hearing each other, you could say mirroring or things like this. This is also the importance of you sharing you and where you're at right now, so that other people can see and be too, without all the words and all the stories and getting attached to people, places, and things, and choosing to come together and be a community instead of separating ourselves and saying that I am not wanting to be part of the whole because of this or that. However, at the same time, I will encourage us to recognize how when we are not giving people permission to be themselves 100%, it makes them feel like they have no place to belong. If I cannot sing right now in front of you without you speaking negatively or making louder noise or not holding a space for me to experience the complete depth of myself and my feeling and my total beingness, then I will not want to be in this little place. And it's not that I want you to see and hear and to be part of all that I am here, just that I am seeking a place where I can be myself and to express from this very sacred place. And this is what people are using the word of mentioning the title and name of a being a container, a place, a sacred ground, or a space holder, a person who is available to you non-judgmentally and able to offer reciprocity or reciprocal energy or mirroring. And I'm sorry, there's so many different words for the exact same thing, so I do apologize for the sacred curse and blessing of the Babel or the Tower of Babylon, okay? All these infinite playful energies that can be expressed. So I do apologize if any of this is triggering or creating an allergic reaction, is the joke that I also have always loved to share. But again, noticing our breath. If you have been holding your breath, I know I've certainly been holding my breath through a lot of those forms of communication. I have absolute joy in playing with this instrument, although I am not an individual who has ever named herself a harpist or a instrument player. I just absolutely love to, you could say, what I've recently called or have been given the name to call this ministering to the Lord. And for me, it's where I'm just absolutely surrendering to the music or the instrument. And sometimes I am feeling I am being pressed upon and led exactly how to sing with my fingers, or sometimes I'm speaking to God from my very own heart through the strings and the chords. And I'm not really one who can ever play the same song twice or even know anything about the strings or their tones or things like that. I can tune the harp. Many times I enjoy to not have the harp so tuned because sometimes it's more fun and interesting and unique and one of a kind to kind of play with that just one time. And many times I've played in this way, and I can understand if you've become used to music or things being a certain way. However, I have purpose and drive for change because I have experienced so many different things that just have not really brought in joy to my life. And the joy where I have been brought in is that I bring with me into those places where I am aware and knowing that those things exist. And I'm very thankful for my teachers of mindfulness and meditation who have strengthened me in not being a complete, the joke is an emotional wreck is the societal labeled term of a social credit, you could say, or a value of myself, of being able to have self-control. A fruit of the spirit also can be named, which is absolutely useful. Again, getting to choose. So I'm going to choose to set this harp down for a moment. I can feel it being pressed upon to potentially express and use freely. However, for now, I'm setting Priscilla completely aside in a way that I can allow her to rest, okay? And then I'm going to continue with this. Instead of teaching all the names of the breathing habits, the pranayama, the exercises of breath, although there's a time and place for that too, it may be more important to just simply be and allow and to create freely, instead of conditioning and limiting and judging, analyzing, labeling, identifying, and releasing the attachment to be right or knowing everything, or being the doer, doing anything and attempting to just be here now. I would like for my breathing to speak for itself, and instead of you focusing on my breathing, please focus on your own and just notice the quality of your breath. If you're able to get deep and complete inhalations, or if you're being careful with your breath, or if you don't want to take up too much space, or if you can breathe in all the way, or even if it feels like you can't, or just simply noticing, identifying, and then releasing the attachment to the story of that's how it's always going to be or how it's always been, or any story form of the experience of just breathing. Now I'm going to share with you each and one of these oils, and the idea of the video originally was to, again, just do a nonverbal reaction. And after sharing that, okay, which has been complicated and a learning experience on how to, you could say, get complete clarity and stillness of the words while using just like a web camera. There we go. That looks satisfying for me. So perhaps we should do a little bit of that. These are the oils of the scripture. With my recent experience, it was just thrilling to get the idea to try these. And what makes this collection different, they're all these gold bottles. Again, focusing. Oh, maybe I should do like a rehearsal each time. Or is it better to improv? What do you think? So, aloes. Oh, there you go. That looks better. Okay. And then, since these are pure oils, I'm not going to have to research which blend. I know I said I was going to do non-verbal, so let's try to remember. Let's do ASMR. It's really hard also. Let's say it's challenging, because let's also say that unless you purchase this kit or you have your own personal sitting hand holding experience, you might not know that certain ones of these oils, although the front of the bottle is saying aloes, that excuse me, I'm laughing at my own inability to silence my heart, right? Or to silence my ego, or to silence ego, edging God out. And then the ego wants to stand up for itself, like, oh, but this is a review, like this is what is normally done. We need to tell everyone that this is actually sandalwood. How will they know? How will they see your review? Another irritation can be from like not lack of self-control. When you are in that place where I have no self-control, where I am not able to honor my commitment of saying that I'm going to do a ASMR nonverbal blind reaction to these essential oils, and to share with you this recent investment. And if you choose to sample or to experience some of these oils, feel free to communicate with me. I'll be happy to share with you, because this is such a unique instrument in life. Who only God could have imagined the extreme benefit of the, what would you call this, scent? But what is scent? Like a sense, maybe one of the greatest senses is being able to smell things, having aromas and pheromones, and just all these experiences, and just how interesting it is how our internal environment and inner world and emotional or mental state can very much so make a shift after having an experience. So it is said that sniffing or smelling is the best way. Others enjoy to directly contact. Sometimes the oils are like thicker or just take time to like completely come out. So if you struggle with that long suffering, my ego's just gonna keep making commentary, so this is not a sudden reaction. Although that would be a very clever thing to do. Maybe we could do that one day, where I can honor my own, what I call cool ideas of an ASMR. Just breathing. And playing with essential oils. I love to put essential oils on my skin because in my imagination that my skin is eating these cellular particles, and I could be absolutely wrong. That's not true. However, I've read things, and I don't know what kind of schooling it is to learn those specific things, like, and get a degree saying that what I know is absolute, if that can even be absolute, that putting things on our skin are consumed by our cells in our body in other ways. Yeah, sandalwood actually is a very, very thick oil, so it makes sense that it like took a minute to come out, like the first use. And like sometimes I just do this little sideways thing and it seems to like drip way better by doing it like a little ways that way. I absolutely love, 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 love this experience. The experience of like coming into contact with essential oils. Like that seems to be a positive upliftment. Sometimes it feels like a contribution because I'm not the only one who benefits from the usage of having some sacred invention of God. We can make jokes about how one day God came to the mind of a man and said, hey, this is how you're going to distill and create essential oils. And then man and woman will be able to gather and collect and re-experience and experience all of these majestic things. If you have these things, please share. If you have other things that are really cool and that are unique to you and that God has shared with you, does God ever call you to share those things with other people? Like your guitar skills or your poetry, or are you even encouraged to do those things by yourself just so that like God can watch? Man, this one's really on there. This is cassia. Is that cinnamon? What does that say? I want to call it a binomial nomenclature name. That's just what my brain wants to call it, but I just know that that might not be the proper word for the long scientific name of Cinnamomum cassia. Cassia. Love to learn how to actually pronounce and know what this is. Kind of smells cinnamony. Is it cinnamon? Interesting. Can you imagine? Nonverbal response. You would probably have to show like every bit of the face, and the AI would be the one benefiting from all like the micro responses of how that person responded. And I bet you like that it would be like of it, information technology's interest, right? And of the interest of consumers to know, not just consumers, but producers, for producers to know your personal reaction to this thing or that thing and how this changes you, or to really keep track of all those things. What is that called? That's called like biometrics. Biometrics. Some websites now, they are putting you into an agreement where you are checking a box that you accept these conditions, that you are willing to have the content that you have put into the interface, that you give permission for biometrics to be run on those wow, that it's almost like burning. Like, so if you have sensitive skin, it might be not a good idea to put that one on your skin. But I kind of like the spice. I do like the spice. And what's interesting is that it says that, like, the one casilla that I used, that in the scripture it says that it was placed together with the sandalwood, that they were put together and used. Or they all smell of those 3 ingredients. Okay. So now I'm trying something that when it's burning, it's not always my favorite, truthfully. It can be kind of a unique smell. Maybe it grows on you, but my first time, I was like, what is that? Kind of like my same reaction to vetiver. Vetiver has so many uses, so do not allow my mindless speaking on the subject. God made it for a reason. It has a purpose. It's useful. Oh boy. Just like these things aren't for everybody. Does that make sense? Like what ingredient or specialty that works for you is not always the specialty for someone who has similar experience. Different? Not as like it's nothing like when you burn it. So that's interesting. Just gonna keep topping my hands. Sometimes I like to like put them on my head. However, I think I'm gonna wait until I feel really called by a certain oil if I'm going to do an anointing. This is like the worst part of the video, is like getting that and like the complete exposure. Come on. Bingo. Why is this like the magic place? There you go. Cypress. Whoa, this oil comes out fast. Some oils, like, my body's like, I can't smell this. We could joke that I already have like a bunch of oils on. I absolutely love layering up oils. Like, that feels really good to me. And yeah, I'm definitely one who also enjoys to put my essential oils where you might tell me not to do that. And I'm respectful and thankful for your advice. And I sometimes am deeply knowing what the exchange is. Like, if I do the thing, what are the consequences? I am not always completely awake, you could say. Right? I can be mindless or just monkey mind, automatic, doing and responding out of energy and motion, emotion, instead of really choosing from a conscious, loving place of stillness and well-being. So I'm attempting to be gentle with myself in this process. However, it's true, I have learned many things from this so-called defined as hard way of living, of choosing to come into contact with things that have been advised otherwise, and sometimes I am believing in myself and my ego instead of a higher power, you can say. And I am acting like I am knowing it all and take steps not even looking. And sometimes God is with me, watching me and protecting me and carrying me, and other times I am falling on my face and getting to learn the beautiful lesson that I can share now and be the person that the person doesn't listen to anyway. Yes. There are many different ways for the story, the moment now, the story of now. There's many ways for this now to be a moment where we are in absolute bliss. We do not have to accept and believe the stories that are being told in this exact moment. There are many different things on the news or on the feeds of certain places that I'm administering my eyes to, and I can choose to look at nature and what's in front of me, or I can get lost in stories of what is coming and what the future is, etc. And I have a very funny next video I will do, and please remember this moment. You can even comment later, I remember this moment. And it will be almost like an inside joke. Okay. So, I have also been imagining doing this new thing. And it's not really a new thing, it's just kind of like bringing back an old thing. So I've been interested in doing something called being a pen pal. So where we handwrite letters or send boxes, like personal boxes to each other from my land to your land. And like making friends with each other and almost having like an eco-energetic exchange. And when I say by this, I can name the specifics. Okay, let's say you have $25 and I have $25 and it costs $25 to mail the box to where you are and to put all the things in the box. Like it covers all of that. Okay? And then that I am spending on you and you are spending on me. And pretend you and me are different people too. Okay? So they are spending amongst themselves and doing things. And from this place, let us also give to get absolutely nothing in return. Not a thank you, not that they have to love it. That's not the payment. Not, oh, I made their life better. There's only love in the box, which means care. There's care and acceptance. Acceptance and care. Tending, tender. Being tending, nurturing. Okay, again, babble frankincense. Okay, this one I'm like, I absolutely know this one. I'll do like drip after drip after drip. Yes! I absolutely love frankincense. And part of buying this kit was absolutely worth it just for the fact of getting a fresh bottle of this to work with this. What you don't see is shortly after this, I'm actually going to be getting to work in the garden. So, if you're wondering, where am I going to go looking like this and this? I'm actually going to change. And smelling like this, I'm going to go, what can be defined as one with the earth. I'm going to be into the dirt and making mess and cleaning up and all these really fun things. Found the lid. Okay, I have to improve my organization, and I have to choose to do that because I have no manager. I have to manage my time, my mind, my energy. I am the manager. And we can choose to hire managers or coaches or ministers or people for sessions and their time and their attention and make them be part of our world. And there can be equal energetic exchanges. It doesn't always have to come down to concepts of money. However, if that is your personal way that you really love to receive love and accept that for your work, then please communicate that clearly. Always have your clear boundaries. Do not allow someone to have an agreement with you that goes against the agreement you have with yourself. And if you are in a position where you are needing a little bit of assistance of standing up for your heart, your inner voice, your calling, your love, your passion, yes, your blessing that God has given you, let us put our attention and our love and our protection there instead of self-sacrificing or sacrificing our true wants and desires. Let us go on. We have a few more. I will admit that these are like, look how secure they are in the box. How does that for a review? Like, probably definitely against the rules of essential oil creators, or okay, against certain essential oil communities might be super against the ideas and say, do not shake the bottles. I can imagine someone might say that to me right about now. So yes, and that shouldn't be in bright lights and this and that. Okay, so I'm attempting to do my best love to these. This one is different. I had to make sure it wasn't a second bottle, but we're gonna do this guy. What a name. This makes me want to remind you of what your first name means, what your middle name means, and what your last name means, and what this means to you, and how it all makes sense. If it makes any sense. If it gives you purpose or meaning or direction. Whoa! If that was an ASMR video, I would not be able to not say, oh my god, I don't know if I like the smell. Usually the smell we don't like is the one we need. Oh my goodness. Somebody get the handbook. This is where I'm like, manager, secret agent, help me. I have a book somewhere here that will tell me exactly the uses of this. That might have some information here. Oh, please forgive me of the insult against the Feast of Tabernacles. In my defense, they said to get myrtle branches. They didn't say to inhale the oils. Okay. Excuse me. There's gotta be some medicinal purposes to this. And maybe it's not on this document. However, I'm sure that some person somewhere has written down that they had this experience and then that they breathed this in, or they did this with this and that this turned out this way, because they really believe that from God's pleasant creation of this oil had a very special use for someone's life, if not just one person in this entire world. And if you have any experience or knowing of how this is useful or any stories around this, this is, oh, it's like grounding. What is it? Is this, it says a branch, so is it a tree? Teach me everything you know. Like, I have no aroma to compare this to. And I can like spit words and names, however, like what that might smell like let's say we both think of the same word, and then like you think of what it smells like and I think of what it smells like, it might smell completely different to you, like what you imagine than what I'm imagining. Does that make sense? Like the babble, just like getting confused. And you can try to like mirror back to me and I can be like, no, that's not what I mean, or that's what I mean, or in like vice versa, like mirror back to me and be like, no, I didn't mean that. And then I can try to copy and say, did you mean like this? And then there's a lot of play and growth and connection from that communication. Oh, my ego's just shouting how I just don't like this. And like, I've always thought about the idea of doing like genuine reviews. When I say genuine, I mean like I'm not paid by anybody to do the thing, to like review the thing. But I'm just like telling you like my personal experience and thoughts and ideas of the thing. maybe just for your entertainment or cheer you up, or I don't know, for fun. Some type of fun. Fun. I don't know what fun could come out of that. Maybe like sharing. Like, oh my god, did you have that experience too? Oh my god, maybe we should change this like this, or what if we use this for this? I don't know, finding out the purposes and uh, motivating forces can be very exhilarating. So, we will have to research what that means to us. And I'm even questioning if I could even somehow magically find my book absolutely right now. However, we will move along onto this essential oil that I don't think I can say. Anchia. And then again, having to refer back to the paper that came with all this practical devices. So is this another hidden oil? It's not saying that this is a name for another name, like the aloes. The aloes being named something completely different. That just like set me up to try to like look for all the other oils that are disguised in different names. There's one on here. I bought this recognizing that another essential oil I was interested in trying was on here. And it's called cistus on here. However, it's also like world known as a rose of Sharon. Now, this Anchia is that's pretty different. It's almost like, oh my god, it doesn't smell like Exingmao. Oh my god, it's got like this unique, really, 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 really cool smell. I imagine that it also makes it good that I have like multiple different oils. Sometimes I like to also put the oils like in certain parts of like my system. Some might call them vital flex points. Sometimes they're like intuitively based of like my interests. And sometimes there's like purpose or intention of like, oh, I want to remember this, or this means this to me. And sometimes that's also, you could say, meaningless or useless. Like sometimes I am giving meaning to things that could have infinite meaning and also no meaning, and still I'm investing all this time and attention and investment into this little moment or this thing. And that can also be viewed as like extremely beautiful and wonderful and such a great um, like immense experience. At the same time, there can be great joy and satisfaction in having silence in the mind and stillness in the heart and being happy and content and in bliss from just having that complete separation from the narrator, the storyteller, the part of my mind that is criticizing, judging, or analyzing, just the never ending aspect of self. And if I can also too step away from this constant desire to change the self, that can also be really refreshing and healing. However, I have these things, they're called belief systems, that are so ingrained into my being that is very, very complex to do anything but the natural response to the stimulus in the environment or in the room or in the internal temple inside. I can be saying, you need to be driven, you're not driving hard enough, you need to work out, or go harder, you can do this, what are you doing? Like many different versions of almost sergeants saying, you need to be productive, get creating, do this. And sometimes that can be really, 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 really fueling because there's an internal compass or guidance system that is pushing me towards something more. And there's a balance here that I am working in between it's an attempt to create santosha. It's where I am seeking contentment, where I am not in need to constantly be engaged in doing and actively seeking, and having complete acceptance and love of no attachments, none. No attachments or need to eat this or to see this or to live like this or to have this. No obsessive control. There is just a state of peace and bliss and contentment, and no reaction response to certain stimulus that can be defined as triggering or affecting, and that one individual, I myself, am capable to be the authentic self without limitation or control or fear or any expressions that are not from a choice to be loving and accepting and kind and fruitful. And then shall we try another? I'm like, this one I know. And my ego and the characters that come on stage, the storyteller. Cedarwood. That grounding. This is another one I can just like trust and just put on my scalp. The sap is so thick and nice. And this one is also like not super thick. It's just hard to explain the absolute texture. And each time you get the blend, it's different. So it's interesting. And it's also amazing that there's nothing else in this container except for like the purity essence of what was gathered. And I have absolute appreciation for that. Absolute. Absolute. I would love to have an interview of this lovely woman I've met when I was in Colombia, Camila. I would love for her to share with you her distillation process. I would love to imagine having an episode of Testimony in a Tub with her being interviewed. She can speak multiple languages, and she's just such a wonderful, beautiful woman. And it is because of her that I have my Nagoni, and that I have supported who I have to have the experience where I can attempt to play and identify and relate and have a relationship with this beautiful instrument that has been made for me called a Nagoni. So thank you everyone who has gathered here and played and dedicated your time, your energy. And if you have gotten anything out of this, I'm not expecting anything out of you. Many of you have already given to me in so many ways that money can never, ever, 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 ever provide. And some of you have provided for me in ways that I am just still shocked and amazed, where you showed up and just like the timing of everything and how God is working miracles all the time. And just really how beautiful it's really been to get out of my own way and to kind of give space to this thing that is greater than me, that I can't help but always constantly float my way back to. I think this is also why I have always identified and really, really deeply related to the love and the understanding of the Bhagavad Gita and understanding Krishna consciousness. And I have never spent the time to actually sit down and read the entire story. I have only read parts of Arjuna and this history that has been written down in this way. And I have this very special version of the book that is gold. And I have shared this with you many times as well, and I will be happy to share with you which version it is if it is speaking to you out of curiosity. I have belief that God is expressed in many different books and many different ways so that other people can kind of know the character of God, because the character of God can only be known in certain dimensions or degrees or perspectives. Again, how God is treating you might be treating your sister or your brother or your family a little bit different. You know what I mean? Maybe your sister doesn't listen, so she asks God to make his voice a little louder, a little more clear, a little more strict. or maybe you asked for another signal or a thing like this. We all have our own feelings, you can say, towards God, and some of us may absolutely not like God at all, and not be like God, and not be like anyone who likes the idea of this name and things like this, yes. And sometimes their God, you could say by definition, is money or themselves or this other image or idol or statue or, person, place, or thing that they've really put all their identity into, that they're like, this is it. Speaking of identity, oh my God, I'm so excited to share with you so many other things. It's just been I almost wanted to call it overwhelming. However, at the same time, it's filled with joy and mystery, and sometimes confusion might be a really good word. However, it's more like uncertainty or unpredictability or risk, and sometimes that can be considered an absolutely fun, adventurous, interesting thing. So it's just a matter of perspective and timing, and at times, again, being a complete emotional roller coaster in response to like things falling on our plate. And this can be from our personal response to a traffic jam. Maybe we didn't have the realization that we could choose to be loving awareness and to be lovingly aware instead of being automatic and cursing or doing the thing that we would choose not to do. If we could write down or film ourselves and see that we are doing this, we would choose to be something else. So finally, this one is Rose of Sharon. Man, some of these oils are just pulling out really good. This one has like a really unique smell. Maybe like the best way to do the review of essential oils is one at a time. Because when I'm just doing the funnel, just applying all these layers of oils like I do anyway, so it's hard to give you like an absolute knowing that this is my complete response to, even though my skin has probably ate it or the smell is like not. I wanted to say not completely go away, however, that doesn't completely express my idea, so let me again stop blabbering. I have a little bit more of an experience with this oil. Again, I have to do my homework and research. I'm like saying this so I can hear it. Trina, do your homework, learn what are the uses that are documented for Rose of Sharon, what can be used for the nervous system, the body, the mind. And I am down to the last oil to play with in here. And I'm pretty sure I have this oil and I've tried it before. It's always like harder to definitely smell the oil just straight from this. Especially like fresh oil hasn't been dumped. Maybe that's just a story, but like hard to smell like there. I'm going to do some of this. Oh, hyssop. I've failed in remembering to show you the label as we've been doing every single one. And then I'm questioning, did we even do that for this one? Come on. I would love to find a happy medium. Like closer, more clear. Does it have to be tilted? What's the trick? Come on now. I'm about to go back to like the original. There we go. Yeah, see? That one seems to always work. This glare is kinda not satisfactory right now. Maybe there's another way. Maybe like a way. Oh, that's a little better. But I still keep getting a little bit of discoloration in certain areas of the word. However, you're able to get it is Rose of Sharon, yes. It'd be nice to like just get it just once even completely appropriate. However, I can also better. It's still like shades. So like I'm not sure how I would like really prevent that. I could be here forever, like literally trying to figure out like this, like that, like this. Maybe because like this name wraps around the bottle a little bit more, so like the dimension aspect is not really able to capture the whole thing, so that's why we have like the lines. Ah, okay, I'll give up. So there's the essential oil kit. If you choose, give yourself permission to experience something new. If the Bible is something very dear to you, I can imagine this is a very meaningful kit. With my recent experience with Christ, I have no ability to say no to myself and to explore some of these oils as just a reminder and just an opportunity to share them with others and to experience life in a different way. There's so many different things that I can choose to engage with and to have in my everyday life. So instead of choosing a new book or choosing a nail polish or something else that may not be as meaningful or that I have given meaning to or identity to, etc., I've chosen to experience these aromas and these oils. And I love to study all of the potential effects of working with different things like this. Any form of natural medicine and healing in natural ways, all the healing arts has always fascinated me. So I'm going to keep playing and administering them to my neck and all over, inhaling them. Sometimes it's best to just take as many breaths as you can. Especially if you're saying you don't have time. If you need to have essential oils in order to give yourself permission, I like to create that story. Oh, I just put drops on my hand. I have to breathe for 10 times. 1. If you have to. I'm one who always says to do what you have to do. However, know that you don't have to do anything and that you can choose and give yourself permission to have the power to choose instead of not choosing, which essentially is choosing. I'm going to do one more thing and then I will play the harp. If I have been or was or could be, I am not Patricia Larkin, so I cannot play for you the flute, which I am reading that this verse calls for. This is Psalm 5. For the director of music, a psalm of David to be played on flutes. That's what made me think of her. So let me read and focus upon him, or all that is, and sing this prayer. Because this is where I have randomly landed upon today, and I felt like it has fed me and been a prayer for me to say to God in ways that I am okay with sharing. So here is my bread, my living water, okay? Lord, listen to my words. Pay attention when I sigh. My King and my God, listen to me when I cry for help. I pray to you. Lord, in the morning you hear my voice. In the morning I pray to you. I wait for you in hope. God, you aren't happy with anything that is evil. Those who do what is wrong can't live where you are. Those who are proud can't stand in front of you. You hate everyone who does what is evil. You destroy those who tell lies. Lord, you hate murderers and those who cheat others. Because of your great love, I will come into your house. With deep respect, I will bow down toward your holy temple. Lord, I have many enemies. Lead me in your right path. Make your way smooth and straight for me. Not a word from their mouths can be trusted. Their hearts are filled with plans to destroy others. Their throats are like open graves. With their tongues they tell lies. God, show that they are guilty. Let their evil plans bring them down. Send them away because of their many sins. They have refused to obey you. But let all those who go to you for safety be glad. Let them always sing with joy. Spread your cover over them and keep them safe. Then those who love you will be glad because of you. Lord, you bless those who do what is right. Like a shield, your loving care keeps them safe. So in the beginning, we can meditate upon this, where maybe we are making something else our God, and that our God is not Jesus or a loving spirit or a kind mercy spirit, right? Maybe our God is the validation of another person, or money, or another thing that we give meaning to. It could be a house, it could be anything really. Okay, let's jokingly replace that, like, as the story of, right, if we don't have God, right, if we don't choose to have that relationship, let's play with this idea that this other thing is our God, that we love this. And it'll be like the first thing that comes to mind, okay? It'll be just like really obvious. Like, I love pleasure. Like, that's everything. Or just listen to yourself and attempt to not allow me to imprint with these suggestions, and instead for you to find your own personal center in your place that you choose to operate, okay? Give yourself permission to be happy. Give yourself permission to witness true happiness and bliss and contentment, and choose to give yourself permission to be around this happiness, to witness this happiness. And notice if you are uncomfortable or afraid of happiness, or if you reject happiness because that's when the really bad thing happened in the past, or that you are afraid of this, or that this emotion is born and present, this spirit of terror is around, when this idea of this spirit of love, because you think that love is like this, but love is really like this, and there's so much to learn and grow and evolve, and that we can choose if we will open our eyes and see, and to not allow ourselves to be sleeping or unconscious in this moment, just being an automatic monkey mind, automatic robotic response. Okay, so moving on in there, I felt my own personal shortcomings, or that I am concerned are shortcomings of where I can't live where he is, or I can't be where you are because of this, this, and this. Okay, sometimes there's that. And then I love this one. He goes, because of your great love, I will come into your house with deep respect. I will bow down towards your holy temple. For me, that was like obeying his orders. Like, that's the holy temple, is like bowing down, obeying the orders of God that are written in code on my heart that only I know, can hear, see, feel, know. And like, who am I in that consciousness, right? They can say Christ consciousness, Krishna consciousness. There's many different philosophies of this. However, but when you're in that constant awareness of God, who are you when you are listening to God, who is loving and merciful, and not just hard to say. Like, let's say, the best way I can imagine it is like, what if we're trading gold coins? We are accepting gold coins in exchange for our food. Like, imagine you don't have food, you're not getting more food, okay? It's almost like that, like, right? Like, you don't really have a use for this thing. Like, this can get you more of the other thing, at least in this moment. This value has been assigned to this identity, this object. So, my food is what I put into my body. And this can also be thoughts as food, people as food, what I'm around, my atmosphere. What am I allowing to continue, and that I'm not stepping up and interceding and helping and being part of the whole, who I am in God? If I listen to God and I be that part, if I listen to that part of myself that is God within me, loving me, guiding me, telling me what to do, who am I in Christ? Who am I in the body of the whole? Who am I showing up? Am I feeding other people? Did I have a completely drastic change in my life and become a miracle person for people to see because they thought I would always be this way? They thought I was cursed. They thought I was stuck being this particular way. Okay. Lord, I have many enemies. This makes me think where pride is my enemy. Self-righteousness is my enemy. There's been a new joke or teaching to me from Derek Prince where compromise is a demon, or even that spirit is an enemy to me, for me to compromise my heart and to not give myself permission to really be happy, and to compromise what transgressions have been done, and to allow them to continue and to not teach why they're wrong. I'm not saying to punish or to be an awful abuser or individual who overly responds to extreme stimulus. Or you could also say perfectly responds, okay? Sometimes it's human, it's nature. Okay? There's a joke of it is what it is. And it is, and it's not a matter of what you think it is. It is, and you can only see and know and understand part of it, but you are not it, so you cannot completely speak from that place. And it's just a matter of accepting it. And sometimes what you're identifying and accepting it as in the space that you're putting it is not the place where it belongs. If that makes sense. And it's not about saying that you're wrong or that anything is wrong. It's just a matter of awareness and choice. Okay? I feel like we've all been in a place where our throats have been graves. And we're lying, like we're hiding behind a smile or a voice or a thought, when inside we are guilty of doing certain things like deception or self-fulfillment, judgment, and that can go further to ridicule, and we just didn't know better, which is where compassion and forgiveness comes in. However, at the same time, it's not always the most reachable state of being when those experiences have been very much so a part of your personal development and your understanding and level of love that you can give. And it's just a matter of taking time and choosing. Do you choose to be the most loving in this moment? Do you choose to ever? Do you give yourself permission to ask yourself this question, to really explore your own personal response? Do you care what you have to say? Are you listening? If you need to write it down to get clear, it will be, I'm sure, very nourishing and food for your spirit at some point. Just something to think about. This prayer is also very heavy because it's almost also a curse. It's asking that anyone who is planning to do evil, whether they know what they're doing is evil, to try to change someone is evil, or what they're doing is evil, whether it's killing a plant or doing this or doing that, and maybe it's an accident, or again, you mean well or you don't know what you're doing, okay? This prayer is asking for God to bring those plans down and to send the people away, send them away, or maybe send the plans away is what it's saying, because they have refused to obey you. And then it talks about how they pray for those who are truly with God and happy to always sing and be glad with joy. Thank you for your time. I will play the harp another time.